We all have that one friend who has the smelliest breath but always insists on being 6 inches away from your face when they talk to you. This friend just doesn't understand the importance of personal space. Now I'm going to go ahead and assume we have one of those in class with us today. Now I'm going to help out your friends by educating you on the importance of personal space. Judy Bergen defines personal space as the invisible variable volume of space surrounding an individual that defines that individual's preferred distance from others. Everyone has in the back of their mind a distance they want there to be between them and the person they're talking to. The problem is, we don't all have signs in our forehead that let people know how far or close that distance is. Edward Hall, an anthropologist from the Illinois Institute of Technology, came up with 4 distances for the 4 types of conversations we have with people that Americans should use as a general rule of thumb. First, there is the intimate distance. This is the distance you want to be with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife, or whoever you have an intimate relationship with. It's about 0 to 18 inches. Personal distance is how far you should be with the people you know well and are comfortable being around, like your friend. This is about 18 inches to 4 feet away. Social distance is the distance you want to stand when you're talking to someone in a social setting like a party, and you don't know this person very well. You want to be about 4 to 12 feet away. Lastly, it's public distance. This is the distance you want to be when you're doing something, like giving a speech. You want to be about 12 to 25 feet away. Now, what Judy Bergen and Edward Hall don't mention is that personal space isn't just in our conversation, but it's also in so many other aspects of our life. I'm going to talk about personal space in conversation, not in conversation, and how you can deal with it. The distance someone wants you to stand usually has to do with how much that person trusts you. This is shown in Hall's guide. The more you trust someone, the more comfortable you're going to be standing closely to them. If someone doesn't trust you, they're not going to want you standing very close to them. This is where you have to decide what kind of relationship someone sees as having with you, a personal relationship or social relationship. If you're talking to someone that is a different gender, it's more likely they're going to take issue if you're getting too far into the personal bubble. We usually tend to trust someone who is the same gender as us more quickly. Nonverbal cues are always going to be the initial indicator of whether or not you're invading someone's personal space. People use their facial expressions, eye contact, touch, and body lean to let people know if they are being intrusive. Are they wincing or squinting their eyes? Are they putting their hands out to make sure you don't come any closer? Or are they leaning because they don't want to seem rude by taking a step back? As I mentioned earlier, personal space invasion doesn't stop at our conversations. Just thinking about when you're driving on the highway and someone has been invading your space by riding your ass for the last 2 miles. You can assume this means they want you to speed up. You can even communicate back that you don't care how fast they want you to go by giving them the finger and slowing down another 5 or 10 miles per hour. Personal space invasion can happen anywhere, even if you're in the bathroom. There's always that one guy who walks into a restroom with 20 or so empty urinals, but decides to use the one right next to you. This necessarily isn't communicating anything, besides the fact you know he's just a weird person who doesn't pick up on social cues very well. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, now I know when people are invading my personal space. What can I do about it? You have about 4 options when someone is invading your space on how you can tell them. You can just accept the fact that they are there and deal with it. You can try dropping a hint by casually leaning back or taking a step away. You can tell them you're uncomfortable being so close when you're talking, or you can just give them an excuse why you need more space. Knowing people's boundaries is important to communicate effectively and efficiently. Once someone's personal boundaries have been breached, they can't think about anything else. This is why it's so important that you are aware of and use Edward Hall's distances as a guide when you are speaking to someone.